Hello everybody and welcome back to F122 with me, Dan, and the Slothz team. We had a pretty good race, I would say. Although it was nearly 6 months ago, Saudi Arabia was pretty good. But we're on to Miami, a race which I've done once and I sucked at in a very bad car. Let's see how we get on with the upgraded car, with the Honda power unit, of course. Moving over to do some upgrades first. We'll put some money into the simulator, and here is the performance graph for anybody that didn't see it in the last video. Pause it there just to see what's going on, and we progress through. A few upgrades coming through. There's the simulator coming in, help Teo Pourchaire out a little bit, honing his skills, and then we just fail that aero upgrade there for the rear wings, so we go back in and turn that one back on. And also, ballsy move here, we rush the development of some drag reduction to see how that goes. And of course we get the season break after one race, because why not? Anyway, on to the next part. I realised I didn't actually set any activities until after all of these were finished. But nonetheless, we got a ton of upgrades and our first marketing event, where we get to choose our rival. Now, not being too optimistic just yet, we go with Daniel Ricciardo with the Alfa Romeo. Performance-wise, we should be able to beat him rather comfortably. Gasly as well, and then Hamilton's a bit of a tricky one. Quality control upgrade for aero going on the factory as well, and another look into personnel. We get the fitness centre for Teo as well, help get his skills up even more. And then use up some remaining points on the roll dampeners in there, because we do actually need the heated wheel rims for the plank upgrade later on, so I need to progress that part of the tree as well. Everything passes, we got all of the upgrades, and we're on to the race. Well, here we are then for race 2, finally taking part in a race around the present day that I'm recording it. Only, 4 days ago we did the Miami Grand Prix, and we'll get to see how how I got on in just a few moments' time. Of course, last time didn't do too well around this circuit, mainly because the car was absolute ass with that Renault power unit. Nonetheless, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell as well. You'll get to see how we get on in the next race, which will be Spain. But for now, let's get on to the starting grid for the first of the American Grand Prix. It's George Russell alongside Charles Leclerc on the front row. This time they're followed by Fernando Alonso in the McLaren and Max Verstappen. Everyone loves it when Alonso does well. Lando Norris starts behind his teammate in P5. He's alongside the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton round out the penultimate row of the top 10. And then finally we have Pierre Gasly and myself in P10. Behind us, of course, we have Kevin Magnussen. He's alongside another rookie, Robert Schwartzman. Followed by Yuki Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri, the rookie for Haas. Then we have Lance Stroll all the way down in 15th alongside Carlos Sainz. Neither of them took part in Q2 for some reason. Daniel Ricciardo lines up alongside our teammate Teo Pourchaire. And on the penultimate row we have Alex Albon and Zhou Guanyu, followed by, and you guessed it, it is Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. Well, here we go, lined up on the grid, only for the second time on the channel in Miami. There is technically a third co-op career race, but we haven't finished that season yet. It's been going on for months. Maybe we'll see it one day. Regardless, down into turn 1 we go. Up the inside of Pierre Gasly, who we started alongside of on the starting grid. He's actually managed to pull ahead of us, and we're under attack now from the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. He will be looking to impress here for his team, which is in its home country the moment, but we've managed to keep him outside of the top 10 for now. And up ahead, oh no, there he goes. He's going to go down the inside into the swimming pool section, or yacht club section, even though there's no water there. No, we managed to keep him at bay. Up ahead, Lewis Hamilton on the mediums. You'd have thought that after the first few laps he's going to start to suffer slightly with everyone else around him on the soft. Not Jeff just muttering something to me there. I'm not entirely sure what that was, but we get down the inside just about of Pierre Gasly into the highway section we go, and we managed to stay ahead of the Alpha Tauri. Now behind 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. As we come onto the back straight, we've got a yellow flag up ahead. Not entirely sure what caused that or who was involved, but I think someone may have got some damage. You'll soon see later on why I might think that. But here we go, down the back straight. Hamilton maintaining position ahead. And, well, actually, look at Lando Norris up into P4 just behind his teammate. Now McLaren having a great time here. As is George Russell, I would think, because this would technically be his first win. Anyway, on board with us for the start of the race. Not too shabby a getaway. Lewis Hamilton absolutely all over the place. We see Magnussen attempting to get through. Hamilton wiping out a bollard there, which is what we'd love to see. And there we go, Gasly taking position ahead of us, as he was when we started the race. To rejoin on lap 4 now, still following Lewis Hamilton, but now with DRS, and starting to figure out something, that this car actually has a bit of a secret in its back pocket. It is incredibly fast in a straight line. Disgusting, I would describe it as. When you get the DRS and, well, not even necessarily the ERS deployment going at the same time, this thing hauls ass along the straights. We'll see it multiple times throughout this video. For now, though, we'll follow Lewis Hamilton down towards the final 2 corners. He's got DRS at the moment, and he is in a Mercedes, so we don't close up too much. And I believe we're coming into the pit lane now for lap 4, so it's an early stop for us, given the fact that we were kind of just held up there behind the Mercedes. And also, notably, Esteban Ocon. Given that Alpine, if you've been looking at the performance graphs, actually have an okay car, but they've actually got the best aero and chassis, I believe, out of everyone on the field, which is how they've managed to place at least one car very high up in the top 10 at the moment. We have a nice clean stop there. Pit crew doing fantastically. We rejoin in last, and we've been the first one to stop. See if we could get some undercutting going on. Up ahead, we've got a bunch of cars in the pit lane, our teammate included. Let's see how we get on. Esteban Ocon was, of course, ahead of us. He should be coming out of the pit lane. There's Lewis Hamilton or George Russell coming through the first couple of corners now. Unfortunately, though, it's not paid off, but we did manage to get back out ahead of Pierre Gasly, which is what counts in the end, I suppose. And that Mercedes in the pit lane was, of course, George Russell. Given the fact that Lewis Hamilton started on the mediums, he will be in a little bit later on. And, well, apparently Théo Pourchaire's covered into the pit lane again, even though I can quite clearly see him on the map there, following a Williams. That must be Nicholas Latifi. Somehow he's been that unfortunate to get stuck behind him. And here we go, a show of disgusting speed as we come blasting down the, one of the main straights here. Close right up to the back of the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. Up ahead, lots of the slower cars now will begin to start causing some havoc as they refuse to come into the pit lane, even if they're on soft tyres that really need to be changed. And actually, coming out of that corner there, one of the best exits we've had from that corner across this career mode. DRS is open, closing up on the back of the Alpine. Move to the outside. Slightly surprised with how fast we were able to go. Esteban Ocon late on the brakes. We actually lock up going into the corner. He slips up the inside, and he manages to stay ahead of us for just a little bit longer. But we're going to have to challenge him down the pit straight now in front of the crowd. We get the fastest lap. We're overtaking people in the pit lane. Esteban Ocon all over the place. We know he's drunk from previous clips that I've made on this channel before. Just once again showing how drunk he actually is. He does manage to stay ahead of us though, which is something. Maybe drinking is a good idea in Formula 1. Bring back all of the alcohol adverts, please. FIA. Anyway, Perez up ahead, causing a bit of a roadblock there ahead of Lando Norris. That may play to our advantage here. No one behind us, at least anywhere near us. We're going to go for another absolutely sickening overtake here until we get to about here. And I forget where the actual corner was, and I brake rather early. But that does spook Esteban Ocon into nearly crashing into the side of Lando Norris, which may play to our strengths, I suppose. Up ahead, I think I just saw a Ferrari being overtaken in the highway section there by I guess, Fernando Alonso looking at the map. But it's take 2 along the straight by the Yacht Club. Down the inside we go into the heavy braking zone. Up the inside of the Alpine. We lose the rear slightly there. But we are ahead of Esteban Ocon now. Following Lando Norris. Let's go on board for that overtake one more time. And you can see the closing speed that we have. They do shut the DRS as they go through that section. I'm not sure why, but they do. And that may have contributed quite significantly into his demise there. On board with him we go. He's closing up on Norris quite nicely there. Hits the brakes early and up we go. Up the inside. Slight contact there with the back of his, with the front of his car. But I think we got away with that one. And back on board with us in our pursuit of more than 1 point. Although we do a fastest lap, so I guess we're not really going to gain much if we don't get this point. From Norris. Looking down the inside. Not quite there just yet for us. I'm going to have to try and line ourselves up a little bit better than that. But we can stay with them. Up ahead. That's Lewis Hamilton in the distant lead ahead of what I can only guess is Lance Stroll in P2 right now. Yes, it is. And Alex Albon running in P3. I mean, they've not yet come into the pits, but that is hilarious to see that Williams is doing that well right now. As for us, though, nearly under attack from Esteban Ocon there as we come through the fake yacht club. The poor man's yacht club, I think we should probably start to call it. Blasting down this straight once again. Can we close up on the Mercedes? Doesn't look like it's going to be on this attempt. Anyway, up ahead, the battle continues between the two Spaniards. I apologise, that's not Spaniard. That's Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso. So I guess just a regular battle between McLaren and Ferrari. But regardless, Fernando Alonso's involved. And as a two-time world champion and a long-serving F1 driver, he has his fans around the world. There'll be lots of people happy to see that going on. We're fighting the other McLaren, though, of Lando Norris. And it's about right now. We're going to close up to the back of him, going to the outside. Go blasting down towards the braking zone. We actually managed to pull completely ahead of him before we hit the brakes. And he's late on them. Round the outside, now down the inside, down the pit straight. I think we do get DRS again. Yes, we do. And the straight line speed pays off. Up ahead, a few more cars are coming into the pit lane. So we're actually up to P6 with a big lock up there into turn 1. Lewis Hamilton coming out of the pit lane. We get ahead of him. Slight touch of the wheels there. But we managed to get ahead of the 7-time world champion. He will be absolutely fuming at Mercedes for putting him on this strategy. And it has not paid off very well at all. Lando Norris, let's go on board with him. You can see there we absolutely skyrocket past him. It's only us going wide into the into this corner here. It's not quite the final corner, but one of them that really puts pay to McLaren. And you can see just how much speed we have pulling away down the pit straight, and that is not a long straight either. I'll lock up and then slight bump of the wheels for Lewis Hamilton, just giving his new tyres a little bit of a smooch, a little kiss as we come out. Bless them. He is on the soft as well, so we do have to be careful. He's not very far behind, and I'm not really sure how good that Mercedes is at a straight line, to be perfectly honest, but compared to a Red Bull, we're pretty damn fast. We've actually managed to pull half a second on Lewis Hamilton on that straight alone. That was absolutely disgusting that we were able to do that there. And up ahead, Fernando Alonso holding on in P3. He's actually fighting for the second step of the podium with Charles Leclerc now. George Russell comfortably ahead, it looks like. So this little train that goes from P2 goes all the way back now to P7 with Lewis Hamilton. And now we're about to challenge the world champion Max Verstappen. Once again to the outside we go. He is probably going to challenge here as we go. Sergio Perez nearly crashes into us there with that disgusting lock-up, trying to help his teammate out. But it's not worked. We're still alongside Max Verstappen as we come down the pit straight. He's still there alongside us. Sergio Perez can't lock up a second time. It will look very obvious what he's doing if he decides to do that. So he has to let us pass his teammate. And Max Verstappen falls right ahead now of 2021 rival Lewis Hamilton. Here we go on board with Verstappen. Very similar to the Norris incident, but we don't get quite as far ahead. He then nearly crashes into his own teammate, who locks up. Manages somehow to maintain a position alongside us until we get the inside line, DRS open, and then this absolutely hideous speed goes blasting out of our car, and we pull ahead of him. Very nice indeed. Probably not going to be too happy about that one, knowing what Max Verstappen is like. As we rejoin now, we've got just over 2.5 laps to go. And Sergio Perez is next on the chopping block to attack. A little bit further ahead as we come down this straight. A little bit late on the DRS there, actually. Not going to be helping us. But he's not got DRS for the whole straight, so we managed to close up to within 2 tenths. I say as it just extends it up to 4 tenths. I'm not sure how that's half a second, but we'll go with it. Into the highway section we go. And onto the back straight. We'll see if the Red Bull can pull away. He does initially get a good getaway, but we've caught him in the slipstream. ERS deployment, DRS deployment. Closing in on the Red Bull, we go to the outside and we absolutely breeze by with no issues whatsoever. And up ahead is the battle for second. Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso. We still hold fastest lap. So we've actually done pretty well out of this race. And we'll rejoin for the final stint of Miami. A complete black and white contrast between us this year and last year. Well, for us at least, Théo Pourchaire is still last. I think he might have been last time as well. Regardless, we're in with a chance of a podium here. Not that I would be very happy about having to take Fernando Alonso off of a podium whilst driving a McLaren, but we have to do what we've got to do. And he is in our way right now. We need as many points as possible before Monaco, because there's a good chance we're going to come dead last in that race. So every point counts up until that point. Monaco, by the way, race 4, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that one in a couple of weeks' time. Might even be sooner if I increase the rate of editing that I have on the go at the moment. My little schedule seems to be going quite nicely when it comes to making these videos and streaming on Twitch, which I will be doing as of recording in the next 10 minutes at 7:30 GMT on Twitch. Radiant Slothz, go and check out the channel, give us a follow. And drop by. We're going to be playing Elden Ring because it's Sunday today. And we're getting close to completing that game. And talking of getting close to completion, this race only has a few corners left to go. We're in the DRS slipstream of Fernando Alonso. George Russell there quite comfortably in the lead. And an interesting result here. 5 different teams in the top 5. Some of which have never been up this high. In this series. We don't get Fernando Alonso on the straight. George Russell wins the race, but we cross the line in P4. There's George Russell just celebrating by driving up to his pit board and hopefully giving some high fives to some of the engineers as he goes past. We get driver of the day, which is an incredible result. Just goes to show that a new lick of paint on the car can make a world of difference. Apparently it was much lighter than the last paint we used last season. Otherwise we wouldn't have been going that slowly. But there we go. George Russell picks up his win. And Fernando Alonso will be joining him on the podium with Charles Leclerc. Now to the Ferrari fans, you get something as well. And there he is, George Russell, taking his trophy. The same mechanics that work for every single team. Clapping away. Bunch of traitors, the lot of them. Switching allegiances left, right and centre. And here we are with the final results. Of course, George Russell, Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso round up the podium, but we pick up fastest lap in P4, followed by Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Esteban Ocon, Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly round out the top 10. So over in the Drivers' Championship, George Russell takes the lead now ahead of Red Bull Sergio Perez, followed by Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, ourselves, Radiant Slothz, Lewis Hamilton, Esteban Ocon, Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. Further down the order we have Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, Robert Schwartzman, Daniel Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Teo Pourchaire, Mick Schumacher, Alex Albon, Zhou Guanyu and Nicholas Latifi. And finally over to the Constructors' Championship, it's Red Bull now 10 points ahead of Mercedes, who move up into second, then Ferrari, McLaren, Slothz, Alpine, AlphaTauri, Haas, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin and Williams. That's all for today. We'll catch you next time for Spain.